Summer starts tomorrow, which means thousands will be flocking to Queensland's beaches. Local authorities pull out all stops to keep most beachgoers safe, but some people continue to ignore the dangers of swimming outside the flags. So when they get into trouble, whose fault is it? A recent beach safety summit at Surfers Paradise tried to sort through the legal minefield. Lynn Keep reports.
Safety is as important as sunscreen and a hat when you go to the beach. Lifesavers and lifeguards are usually on hand to ensure swimmers are monitored as they enjoy the waves. But not all safety issues are that simple. As Australia becomes a more litigious society, those in charge both on and off the sand are being urged to make sure they do all they can to ensure the public's safety in beach recreational pursuits.
People are making travel decisions based on safety. They want to know that where they go, they're going to be looked after. And also the hoteliers and the travel agents and the people involved in that travel have to be legally assured that where the customers go, they will be looked after.
It was Surf Life Saving Australia's idea to draw on some of the country's top legal minds at the recent summit to help cover all bases and keep Australia as one of the top beach destinations in the world.
That if you're doing what is reasonable, what is common sense in a lot of ways, that hopefully the visitor is having a wonderful and safe experience and you're not exposed to any liability.
Well, common sense is at the very essence of it, because the law recognises that it's all about reasonableness. It is about common sense. It's not an absolute duty. So the law never expects anybody to do more than what is reasonable in all the circumstances.
But the judge was quick to point out that circumstances change, and with that, the duty of care changes too. What is obvious to one person may not be obvious to another, and there is a responsibility to inform those involved of all possible risks.
We don't want to place so many warnings and have films and information that is going to put our foreign tourists off from coming to our beautiful beaches.
10 years ago, a tragic accident off Bondi Beach put local authorities, lifesavers and the public on notice that liability is far-reaching when it comes to injuries suffered on the beach.
Well, that's what I've been taught all my life. It's like you cross at the zebra crossing because that's where it's safe. And that's why I swim between the flags.
That didn't help Guy Swain, who broke his neck on a sandbank and has been in a wheelchair ever since. He sued Waverley Council for negligence and 3 years ago was awarded damages of $4 million.
Justice John Hislop said that if a sign had been in place, Mr Bennett's injury could have been avoided. The Supreme Court found Mr Bennett was partially to blame because he was swimming outside the flags and he knew the pipes were there.
Trevor Atherton is a solicitor and author of Tourism, Travel and Hospitality Law. He says it's imperative that hoteliers are aware of their legal obligations when it comes to beach safety.
The world is becoming more litigious. With increasing regulation of everything, there are more and more heads of responsibility which a hotel has to deal with.
Atherton warned that the more hotels promote the beach in relation to their establishment, the more responsibility they take on, and says hoteliers have a moral duty to do what they can to keep staff and guests safe.
It's not just a matter of common sense, because common sense for a local is not common sense for a tourist. A tourist, by definition, is from out of town, doesn't understand local knowledge, doesn't understand local risks. Assume they know nothing, and help them with accurate and complete and useful information.
That can be difficult in an industry which in Queensland alone employs around 150,000 workers, many of them on a part-time basis.
And it's not just the business managers, it's the frontline staff, the tour guides, the front desk people who also need to understand what their responsibilities are, what they need to do, how they can advise visitors, and that is the kind of communication responsibility that we as an industry have, and we can always learn and improve our practices.
Surf Life Saving Australia has taken extra measures to protect its organisation from frivolous legal action, with the installation of surveillance cameras on beaches throughout Australia. Around 100 beaches are currently being monitored. That will treble over the next 12 months. Brett Williamson says the cameras are not only for legal protection, but also to put more eyes on more beaches. It's the way of the future for lifesaving, a long way from where it's been these last 100 years.
In 1970, that was fairly uncomplicated. You go along, you did your training, did your bronze medallion, you got your red and yellow cap, and you went out there and patrolled the beach. These days, from a beach safety point of view, the tourists, the visitors coming from all parts of the world, we've experienced the Japanese tourism. We've learned how to inform, share information with the Japanese. We've got to do that now and do it quickly with the other burgeoning markets, the Chinese and the other Asian countries. So it's a never-ending challenge, I suppose, but it's about surf lifesaving in the 21st century.